to that song, Everything is Holy Now. And it's really in alignment with our theme for this month is the mundane, the sacred, the profane, and oh my. But I want to start this morning with acknowledging that here at the Monterey Center, we have declared November as Gratitude Month. And we know that gratitude is around us 24/7, 365, and 366 in leap years. So it's always around us. It's like, it reminds me of the passage in the 23rd Psalm that says, "Goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life." You know, gratitude is like goodness and mercy. It's following us. It is a part of who we are. And so I would like to begin Gratitude Month by acknowledging Reverend Cindy Harp and the entire Monterey team for an outstanding service and celebration on last Sunday. I had a wonderful time, met with a longtime friend at the DeYoung in San Francisco and saw a couple of exhibits. It was really a fun day. And I know there was a fun day here, especially with the potluck, which was not recorded, but I'm sure there were a lot of goodies, and thank you for leaving some munches in the refrigerator. So I used them during the week. In recognition of Gratitude Month, we have established a gratitude tree, which is here in the center. And after the service, we invite you to just fill out one of the little gratitude tags and hang it on the tree. And we're going to reposition the tree a little bit later. We'll play around with it so that everyone can reach the top. And for those of you who are viewing us, oh, it'll be nice to put it here. That'll be nice. And for those of you who are viewing on Zoom and those who are joining us on Facebook and our YouTube channel, we invite you to create a visual gratitude image for yourselves. It could be a gratitude tree. It could be one year we did the rocks in the jar. Just anything that is a physical reminder of the way gratitude shows up in your lives. And then on Thanksgiving Day, we will have a half-hour gratitude meditation. And this will be an opportunity to share some of the gratitude experiences that we have experienced during the year. And so now as we set the tone for our November series, I share with you a quote that may be familiar with many of you. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. But wait, I thought this enlightenment thing would change all of that. The mundane moments of life persist. These mundane moments allow us to spend time with the Spirit. So in chopping wood and carrying water, that may seem like a mundane or routine activity, and I'll expand on that a little bit more in the talk. But we can think of those, whatever those mundane moments are that we identify as being those moments, those quiet moments that we spend with the Spirit. This search for enlightenment sets the tone for our November series, the mundane, the sacred, and the profane. And we will delve into ways that we categorize life by examining the ordinary mundane, the perceived sacred life with its rules and practices, the profane or secular, i.e. those things that we determine as not spiritual. And this will lead us up to our concluding commentary or talk, if you will, on the aha, or those oh my moments, where we recognize that everything in life is an aspect of God. And so today we begin with the mundane, and we sigh. I'm bored. I'm bored. Anyone who's been around children have heard this plaintive, often irritating whine, and occasionally from adults. I'm bored. I never use that. Well, I learned at an early stage in my life not to say that in front of my parents, because there was always something they would find for me to do to not be bored. I see some heads nodding and some smiles, so we can relate to that. We may desire to escape being bored and live in a state of constant excitement, doing meaningful world-changing activities. And yet, we discovered that there are mundane things that require our attention. For example, doing our dishes, shopping. We like to eat, so we go shopping, or we order out and have it brought in. Cooking, taking the garbage out, these mundane things that have to be done. These are all part of living in this human experience. Believing that life could be so much more if we didn't have to deal with the mundane, we ask, what if the mundane were just as sacred, important, or valuable as anything else? Rumi offers this insight. Borrow the beloved's eyes, the eyes of spirit, the eyes of source, the eyes of God. Look through them, and you will see the beloved's face everywhere. No tiredness, no jaded boredom. I should be your eye and your hand and your loving. Let that happen, and things that you have hated will become helpers. I love the simplicity and yet the complexity of Rumi, because he invites us to take that pause, if you will, and to reflect on what truly has meaning in our lives. In the teachings of Science of Mind, our spiritual practices involve mindfulness, practicing the presence, being with the sacredness of all that there is, which is self-awareness, paying attention to what we label, judge, and disconnect from. And this is reality. And then also gratitude. Simply being grateful for all that is. The one, as Rumi identifies it, which is God, spirit, source, however it is that you connect with this infinite creative intelligence in your own heart. This one doesn't evaluate its creative expression as good or bad, exciting or dull, mundane or exciting. All is itself, good, joy, and all are loved equally without distinction. I want to pause for a moment and invite us to really embody this truth that all are loved equally without distinction. Spirit does not play favorites. We, with the human eye, may look around and see what appears to be someone having a greater experience, a grander experience, of having more than we have. And we may wonder, why is God not blessing me in the same way? Why are my prayers not being answered in the same way? God does not play favorites. When we say that all are loved, all is an inclusive word. And I went to the dictionary to look up a definition of all. And the one that resonated with me says, all means the whole amount. So remember, you and I are loved without distinction. No matter what we may be experiencing, what we have been through, what we have faced, or what we're going into, we are loved without condition. As humans, we learn to categorize, to assess, to judge, and compare. This is an important function of our brains. However, we must be mindful that assessing, judging, and comparing can lead to incorrect assessments. It can cut us off from experiencing the moment of simplicity that is. What if? What if in our judging and assessment, we found out that we were wrong? We determine what is important and what is not important based on categorizing. What if these tasks we see as unimportant, ordinary, or mundane are gateways to seeing the infinite? What are the gateways to seeing into our own self? And that is with the capital S, our spiritual self, our individualized expression of the divine. What are these mundane gateways opening up for us to see into ourselves? It reminds me of the word intimacy. Intimacy, when we break it down, it is into me I see. And so what am I seeing within myself? We're addicted to stimulation and experiences. What might we see if we looked in a different direction? I came across a story that I'd like to share with you as an illustration of looking in a different direction. There is an individual who practices Zen Buddhism and belonged to a local camera club and enjoying the photography trips with the camera club to beautiful places and doing photography. He would notice where the rest of the club members were looking and then turn 180 degrees to see what was happening in the opposite direction. Returning with award-winning photographs, the other club members would always ask, "Where was that? I didn't see that. Where was that?" And his response would be, "While you were looking at the big, obvious beauty, I found beauty in the unattended places." And so where are those unattended places in our own lives that we can look in an opposite direction, looking away from what the crowd is looking at, looking away from what our neighbors are looking at, looking away from what our siblings or our spouse or our partners are looking at? What if we just turned 180 degrees, even if it was in our own mind, and looked in a different direction? What unattended beauty will we find in our own lives? Stop waiting for something exciting to happen and be fully present to what is now. We may spend 10 minutes a day in meditation, perhaps with restless minds, then head out to a busy, restless day, and finally fall into a restless sleep. Our thoughts are in the past or the future, but not here now. Yet we know the presence is here, not somewhere out there. And so I invite all of us right now to just take a breath. Let's take a breath and return to this moment of now. And in this now moment, we may ask, what comes after enlightenment? What comes after enlightenment? The Buddhist answer: before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. We touched on this earlier, recognizing that the so-called mundane moments of life persist. These mundane moments allow us to spend quiet time with the Spirit, and I'm repeating this because I really want us to get this message, and this talk really is for me. You know, you're just a witness to me talking to myself this morning. Yeah. Returning to this moment of now, these so-called mundane moments allow me to spend time with the Spirit. And of course, as we say in spiritual mind treatment, what is true for me is also true for you, because we're all in this together. In our Saturday visioning, we actually commented after we were doing our sharing. The visioning team basically wrote my talk for me this morning, so thank you to the Saturday visioning team. But what came out of our visioning on yesterday was our now moments with Spirit allow us to understand that the truth, and this is truth with a capital T, the eternal truth, is what is real, recognizing that God is love and that love is the answer. We caught the vision of being peace builders through our connection with Spirit, knowing that all is well. And so we live as humans, no matter how enlightened. We are here to experience the spiritual in the human. All of us are in this dance of life. And let us not fall into the trap of believing that enlightenment transforms us, and where the so-called mundane tasks are no longer necessary. What follows after enlightenment is not the fantasy that everything is complete. In earlier times, carrying water from the river for cooking and cleaning, gathering wood for cooking and warmth, were basic necessities for oneself and for the community. Before enlightenment, this activity was seen as a struggle, duty, or an obligation to the community. After enlightenment, the tasks were done joyfully for the sake of the task themselves. Zen teacher Lyman Pang said this: "How miraculous and wondrous hauling water and collecting wood. When we climb out of our categorization of things as mundane, we see that it is all marvelous and that it is all spirit." Sharon Salzberg, in The Heart as Wide as the World, writes this: "Being aware of whatever we are experiencing with a peaceful attitude allows us to be driven into restlessness, allows us not to be driven into restlessness. Being aware of whatever we are experiencing with a peaceful attitude allows us not to be driven into restlessness." And so seeing the grass is greener over there keeps us focused somewhere other than where we currently are. If we reorient ourselves to view everything we do as meditation, we can begin to let go of the wandering, worrying monkey mind and let our attention rest gently right where we are. As we arise out of our conditioning, we can look around with clear eyes and clear minds and see what truly is. However, it takes effort. Old tracks of labeling things mundane, worldly, and unimportant keep us bogged down in the fog of mind. And so our call to action this week, if you choose to play along with us, is to set an intentional reminder during the day to practice coming to center and just being with what you're doing. It may be standing in line at a store, sitting in traffic, taking out the garbage, or doing other mundane tasks. But set an intentional reminder to practice coming to center and just being with what you're doing. This is how we practice these eternal moments of now. And as we practice being here and now, we might ask, am I being present in this moment? Don't judge or criticize yourself if you're not. Take a breath, bring your focus back to the immediate moment. And this is why we practice these spiritual principles. We practice the teachings of science of mind. We practice meditation. We practice spiritual mind treatment. We practice other modalities that remind us that we are one with Spirit, and that in this oneness, like all, it is inclusive. We are never separate from God. And so as we bless everything that we begin, we dedicate it to loving Spirit and experiencing Spirit's love right back. And if you have this month's, the double issue of the Science of Mind magazine for November and December, there are two articles that I would like to call your attention to. The first one is the Q&A article by Dr. Jesse Jennings, and this is on page 31 in the Science of Mind magazine. Seeing everything is divine. In this question and answer, he responds to a lot of what I have covered this morning, identifying what is mundane and identifying what is spiritual. And I really love the way Jesse answers questions that comes in. And then the second article is by Reverend Casey Taylor, and it's on page 69 through 72, and the title of the article is Mundane, Sacred, Profane, an invitation to get uncomfortable. And I remember when I was going through ministerial training, one of the things that was identified as being the mark of a minister is that we are to comfort the afflicted and to afflict the comfortable. And so I'm going to let Spirit afflict the comfortable as we delve into identifying those things that we have previously identified as mundane, and see if we can find a spiritual practice out of that. Now I invite us to say our affirmation for the week together as we post it on the screen. I look and find the sacred in everything. Let us say that together. I look and find the sacred in everything. And now I invite us to turn within as we go to that place, knowing that God is absolutely all that there is. And I can sum this prayer up by saying, and so it is. And so it is that we are each living the life of God. We are each living as an individualized expression of pure spirit, a one-of-a-kind, unrepeatable, unique expression of God. And so it is. And I speak my word declaring that the life that we have declared as mundane, or those activities in life that we have declared as mundane, are those portals into seeing the beauty of spirit. And so as I turn away from the appearance, as I turn away from the distractions, as I turn away from those interruptions that tend to take me off center, and I look within with the eye of discernment, I discover that I am exactly where I am to be, and that each one is exactly where they are to be. And so it is. And I speak my word declaring that there is peace in the world. And I know that there is peace in the world because peace begins in my heart. And as I continue to focus on the peace in my heart, and as we join collectively to focus on peace in our own hearts, then that becomes a ripple effect that brings peace into the world. And so it is. And I declare this morning that there is a healing taking place, a healing in the body and mind and in the body of our affairs, knowing that the divine answer is yes to whatever those requests are that remain in the recesses of our hearts. Those are requests that have been spoken out to a practitioner or a minister. Those are requests that have been spoken out to a confidant. Those requests that have been spoken out to a therapist. Those are requests that have been spoken directly into the universe, knowing that whatever it is, the answer is yes. Yes to right livelihood. Yes to right relationships. Yes to right accommodations. Yes to living a life that is filled with gratitude. Yes, to living the principles and the teachings of science of mind and spirit and ancient wisdom. Yes, to knowing that all paths lead to God and that no one has the exclusive answer on the truth. Knowing that each one is a truth seeker and a truth knower along this journey. And so for this and so much more, I am eternally grateful as I release this prayer, as I release this word back into that law, which always says yes. And now I invite you to affirm this with me if it resonates with you by saying, and so it is. It is now time for us to share in the abundant flow of circulation known as offering time. We have a statement of abundance that I invite you to say along with us. I recognize the presence of God within as a source of my abundance. Out of my abundance consciousness flows everything I could desire in life. With gratitude and thanksgiving, I now participate in the flow of uninterrupted abundance. This prosperous experience is evidence of my abundance consciousness. And so in deep gratitude for the ways that you support the center, the Board of Trustees and myself really thank you. Thank you from the depths of our heart. And of course, you may mail in your contributions to our address, 400 West Franklin Street. You're in Monterey, and the zip is 93940. You may text to give, and the number is 831-246-9694. And you may also donate online to our website, montereycsl.org. And for those who are gathered here in the center, we have a donation basket on our hospitality table in the center, and we invite you to leave your donations there. And let's see, I'm going to step aside. Maybe I can adjust this a little bit. I want to show you the stole that I'm wearing this morning. I don't know if I can get it all in view, but on this side, no, I'll start on this side. This side says, in everything, and this side reads, give thanks. So this is my reminder to give thanks in everything. I have one invitation that I would like to share with our Facebook and our YouTube family, and that is the reminder that on Saturday, this coming Saturday, the 11th, and also on Saturday, the 18th, 11 and 7, yeah. We'll be offering Quick Start. We had to cancel the class because I was ill last month. And as I was rereading through the content, I discovered that there was more in there than I could really accomplish in a 3-hour time frame. And so we're going to do it from 9 to 12 on those 2 Sundays, and it will be in person as well as on Zoom. So if you're viewing online and you would like to participate, please send an email. When I forgot to put my email address on there, send an email to the center and let us know that you would like to participate, and we'll make sure that the materials are sent to you. Bobby, you're sending me a signal. Unmute. Unmute, Bobby. Was that just a sigh, or was that something for me to be aware of?
I would prefer that they send the email to you rather than to the center.
Okay, thank you. Well, let's put my email in the chat. It's revrobert08@gmail.com. revrobert08@gmail.com. And so send me an email if you're interested, and we'll make sure that the information gets to you. And now I would like to say good morning to our, I'm missing something. Wait a minute. Amy, do you have my cheat sheet? Yep. Thank you. I don't rely on the memory. It's known, I'm not aging. I refer to it as I.O., which is information overload. And so to our viewers on Facebook and on our YouTube channel, we love you, we appreciate you, and we thank God for you. And we invite you to join us next week where we will continue our series, The Mundane, the Sacred, and the Profane. And next week, we will talk about the sacred. And so remember to like, share, and comment, and subscribe to both our Facebook page and our YouTube channel, and share with your friends and with your family. And so we say thank you, we appreciate you, and we love you.